It was a Saturday morning on a day with those heavy, low-hanging Pennsylvania clouds when I wandered into a small, cluttered flea market alongside old Route 220 a couple hours east of Pittsburgh. Inside, the air smelled of dust and old paper, of things long forgotten, but not yet lost. Amid stacks of tarnished silver plate, dog-eared paperbacks, and glass bottles clouded with age, something caught my eye. A black and white photograph framed by a white border lay tucked between a stack of postcards. The image gave me pause. A train, twisted and mangled, its cars strewn across an ice-covered mountainside. Snow, debris, and splintered trees filled the frame. I could almost hear the screech of metal on steel, the chaos frozen forever in monochrome. I asked the vendor about it. He shrugged, muttering something about a railroad wreck long ago, but the photograph had no name, no date, just the haunting image itself. Just the kind of thing often presented in these places, items calling out for their long-lost meaning. I handed him a $5 bill, then slipped it into my bag, feeling a shiver of unease. There was a story here, and my curiosity got the best of me. That photograph was my gateway to the wreck of the Red Arrow, one of the deadliest train disasters in Pennsylvania history. The train, Pennsylvania Railroad's Red Arrow, number 68, had departed Detroit at 5:20 p.m. on February 17, 1947, bound for New York City. It was pulled by two massive steam locomotives, Engine 422, with veteran engineer Michael Billig at the throttle, and Engine 3771 close behind. By the time it reached the summit at Gallitz Inn Tunnel, it was after 3 in the morning. The train was running more than an hour behind schedule. Ahead lay the descent through the Alleghenies and the infamous Bennington Curve, a sharp bend in the mountains where veteran engineers like Michael slowed to a crawl. This time, he later testified, he was moving at about 25 to 30 miles an hour as he entered the curve. He closed the throttle and touched the brakes. Then, inexplicably, the throttle seemed to open on its own. Seconds later, he felt the locomotive begin to sway. There was a roar, a shudder, and then the world gave way. Both locomotives tore off the track and slid more than 100 feet down a steep ravine. 5 of the 14 cars followed. Only 3 cars remained on the rails. 24 people died. 15 passengers, 6 mail clerks, and 3 crewmen, and more than 100 were injured. The rescue effort was brutal. The mountains were slick with ice and mud. The wreck site could not be reached by automobile, so emergency teams and railroad workers boarded special trains to reach the scene. When rescuers finally arrived, they were met by an eerie, snow-swept chaos. Thousands of pieces of mail were scattered across the hillside, fluttering among the wrecked cars. Personal belongings lay strewn in every direction. Suitcases, coats, shoes, shattered watches, and pages of books caught in the wind. One witness recalled that pillow feathers from the sleeping cars floated through the air like snow, mingling with the real snow that was falling over the wreckage. Stretchers had to be lowered by rope. Temporary hospitals and morgues were set up as nearby as they could be. Amid the destruction, rescuers found haunting reminders of the people aboard. Some passengers were still holding their luggage or gripping briefcases as if bracing for impact. A woman was found with a child's toy clutched in her hand. One small toy train, crushed but intact, became a particularly haunting artifact. A pocket watch, its hands frozen at 3:21, marked the exact moment the Red Arrow left the rails. These items, later preserved by local museums and private collectors, were transformed from ordinary belongings into silent witnesses to the tragedy. Investigators ruled out track defects or brake failures. The official report listed the cause simply as excessive speed on a curve. But among railroad men, stories lingered about that night's strange mechanical behavior, how the throttle may have slipped open, and how something about that run just didn't feel right. Even today, the memory of the Red Arrow lingers in the Allegheny Mountains. Hikers and rail enthusiasts who visit Bennington Curve sometimes report hearing phantom whistles in the fog, or glimpsing figures in old-fashioned coats walking the line before vanishing into the trees. Photographers have claimed that through their lenses, they've seen toppled train cars that aren't really there, or faces peering from the mist. Whether these are spirits replaying a tragic night or echoes carried by the mountains, they remind us how deeply moments of loss can imprint themselves on a place. The wreck of the Red Arrow reminds us that objects can carry history, sometimes memory, sometimes something more. A photograph, a watch, a child's toy, each one holds a spark of the human story that refuses to fade. Even in the quiet mountains today, when fog drifts low over the tracks and the wind whistles through the trees, it's easy to imagine the Red Arrow still pressing forward through the night. The mountains remember, the tunnels echo, and the objects endure, holding stories that demand to be told. This has been Antiques Mysteries from Urban Art and Antiques, remembering that some things just have a spark. A mirror with a little mystery, a jacket with real personality, a table that makes your space feel like no one else's. Collecting vintage isn't about the past. It's about finding pieces that speak to you.
If you like this podcast, leave a rating here or a comment at urbanartantiques.com.
Are your ghosts acting out, knocking over furniture, opening cabinets at 3 a.m., replaying that one embarrassing moment from 1998 on a loop?
You mean me?
Meet Dr. Specterstein, the world's first psychiatrist specializing in the emotional needs of the dearly departed. With gentle guidance and proven spectral therapies, Dr. Specterstein can help your ghosts work through their unfinished business, so they stop interfering with yours.
Then how did that haunting make you feel?
Dr. Specterstein, ghost psychiatrist. Healing the lingering, the lost, and the loudly rattling.
Remember, there are no bad ghosts, just ghosts communicating poorly.
Now accepting new patients, living or otherwise, wherever you find your spirit tonics and lightly cursed self-help books.
I feel transparent again.